Hello everyone, welcome to Infinite Journeys. Subscribe and click the bell button now. Everything is connected for a reason, so relax and enjoy the experiences.
Little Tejas sat in her room, her small hands clasped together as she stared out the window. The sun was slowly setting, casting an orange glow over the neighborhood, but her heart was heavy, and the beauty of the evening couldn't lift her spirits. Tejas was a lively and curious child who loved spending time with her family, especially with her dear grandmother. Her grandmother was the center of her world, always sharing stories and offering warm hugs that made Tejas feel safe and loved whenever Tejas visited her. One evening, her mother received the distressing news that her granny, who had been admitted to the hospital due to high fever, in a serious condition. The news struck Tejas like a thunderbolt, leaving her heartbroken and filled with a deep longing to see her grandmother. Tejas, unable to bear the thought of her grandmother suffering alone, pleaded with her parents to visit her that very night. However, her mother gently explained that it was late, and she needed to go to school the next day. She promised that they would visit her grandmother the following day after school. Tejas couldn't bear the thought of waiting another day to see her grandmother. Overwhelmed with sadness, she cried uncontrollably. Her father, witnessing her agony, understood her pain and approached her mother with a suggestion.
"Take Tejas to the hospital tonight,"
he said softly.
"I can see how much it means to her. We can manage her school attendance tomorrow."
After some consideration, Tejas's mother agreed, touched by her daughter's love and the understanding shown by her husband. They quickly got ready, and with heavy hearts, the family set off for the hospital. As they entered the sterile hospital room, Tejas's tiny frame quivered with emotion. Her eyes locked onto her grandmother lying on the bed, frail and unable to speak. Confusion washed over Tejas, and questions swirled in her mind. What was happening to her grandmother? Would she be okay? Unable to contain her emotions, Tejas rushed to her grandmother's side. She took her grandmother's hand in her small, trembling hands, holding on tight as if seeking strength. A mixture of fear, love, and sadness filled the room. Suddenly, Tejas saw her grandmother's eyes flutter closed with her tears. Panic surged through her, and she turned to her mother, where she and other family members were crying. Her mother, along with her aunties, uncles, and grandpa, called for the doctor urgently. Their voices filled with concern and desperation. Tejas was brought outside of the room, and she witnessed with doctors and nurses running and the entire family crying. No one noticed how frightened and lost Tejas was, and she didn't tear. She was only child in that surrounding. Dr. Raju rushed in, assessing the situation with a grave expression. After a moment of examination, he delivered the heartbreaking news to Tejas's uncle. Tejas's grandmother had passed away. The room erupted in cries and sorrow as the weight of the loss settled upon the family. Tejas's mother, her own voice filled with grief, asked her daughter to inform the rest of her siblings about the sad news. Trembling and fearful, Tejas picked up the phone, struggling to find the words to convey her grandmother's passing. Eventually, in a choked voice, she managed to utter the devastating truth. Her granny was gone. As the family members on the other end of the line received the news, their world shattered. Grief-stricken cries echoed through the phone, echoing the profound loss they all felt. In that moment, Tejas understood the pain of losing someone dear. Tejas returned to her grandmother's bedside, tears streaming down her face. Her heart was heavy with sorrow, and she felt an emptiness she had never known before. Suddenly, amidst her silent grieving, Tejas heard a faint sound, a voice calling out her name.
Tejas.
Startled, she turned to her mother, who wore a look of astonishment.
Did you hear that too?
Her mother asked, her voice filled with awe. In that extraordinary moment, Tejas knew in her heart that her grandmother's spirit was present, watching over them all. It was a realization that brought both comfort and awe. As Tejas understood the intangible nature of death for the first time, she had lost her first love, but her grandmother's love and presence would forever remain in her heart. With tear-filled eyes, Tejas made a promise to her departed grandmother. She vowed to remember her always, carrying her love and memory in her heart until her last breath. And though their time together had come to an end, but the bond between Tejas and her grandmother would never be broken.
Thank you, Tejas, for sharing your magnificent life experience with us. Tejas is her nickname. She is our sponsor and owner for Infinite Journeys. She has been a pillar of support for the channel and all of us. We are glad to introduce her today to all our viewers with saying that. Thank you, everyone.
Connections between the 5 videos. Video 1, Key to Beginning, reveals how Martha met Key and how he discovered his special power. Together they traveled to other universes, gathering experiences that would later become stories. Video 2, The Voice Awakens. Martha and Key found the voice belonging to Earthy, who is currently the narrator for Infinite Journeys. Video 3, Echoes of the Forest, explores how nature chose Martha, shaping her into Mother Pearl, and how she eventually found Key. Video 4, Transforming Life into Brilliance, introduces fascinating characters, showing the gratitude between the man with the eagle tattoo and Dr. Raju. Video 5, My First Love, reveals that the doctor who examined and gave the final say on that night, he was called Dr. Raju. Thank you, Key, Martha, and Emily. Great teamwork. What makes our channel truly unique is the blend of real and fictional stories, which we reveal at the end of each one. The story you just watched is based on a true event, forever etched in my memory. Dear viewers, we appreciate your continued support for our channel. With warmest wishes to Infinite Journeys, Tejas.
Thank you all, and let's check it out on our next coming up story. It is about self-love. We believe you are having a good time with our stories. Signing off, Earthy.
Thank you, Earthy, for the finishing. Thank you so much to my dear viewers and for your great support. To understand the link, watch our stories from the beginning, do subscribe and click the bell button for more coming up stories. Signing off, Key with Martha.